Hey everyone, it's Colin. How's it going? Lenovo's X1 laptop lineup has generally been geared around portability, which usually comes at the cost of performance. So let's see what happens when they take a thin and light laptop and make it fast. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme has a compact and lightweight focus, but makes a few concessions in order to pack a punch. Now, Lenovo surprised me with this machine as a gift, and it came with no strings attached. I'm doing this review because there was a lot of interest in it from viewers of the unboxing video I made. I'll include a link if you want to check that out. The Extreme has very similar styling to other X1 models. Simple, boxy ThinkPad look with a matte black rubberized coating that's good for grip, but does show fingerprints pretty easily. The keyboard is excellent for a laptop. It's not mechanical, but as a lot of people have come to expect from ThinkPads, it's got a solid feel and good key travel, along with a simple white LED backlight. Typing on this is just a really nice experience. The touchpad is decently sized, but still kinda small compared to what the competition's been doing. The glass surface feels nice, and it supports Windows Precision drivers. The pad's decently clicky at the bottom, which, as a side note, seems to throw off other reviewers sometimes. They look at the buttons above the touchpad and complain that it's a weird arrangement, but those buttons are actually free if you use the track point in the middle of the keyboard. It makes me want to leave a comment to correct them, but then that would make me one of those pedantic types. The fingerprint reader comes standard and it's off to the right side of the keyboard, keeps it out of the way. It's not 100% accurate, but it works well enough. The port selection on the Extreme is solid. The right side has two USB 3 Type A ports, a full-size SD card reader, thank you for that, and a spot for the optional smart card reader. That's just a thing that businesses sometimes use. On the left side, there's a headset jack, mini Ethernet port, HDMI, two USB Type-C ports, and those also do Thunderbolt 3, along with a power adapter socket. The machine ships with a 135 watt power brick, and that kinda speaks to the performance this thing offers. You can charge it using the Type-C ports, which is great, but there's a catch. That standard has a design limitation of 100 watts, so when plugged in through Type-C, the laptop seems to throttle back its performance. It appears that the system won't let itself consume more power than what's available from the charger. It won't dip into the battery to make up the difference. If you primarily use your laptop off the battery, then this won't really matter to you. But if you need maximum speed for longer than quick bursts, you're gonna need to use that dedicated charger. But in terms of performance, that's where this thing tries to stand out. The base CPU is a quad-core i5, and there are two 6-core i7 models you can upgrade to. That's a lot of numbers. It'll support up to 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and that's even upgradable through a pair of slots and not soldered down. There's also two M.2 slots for storage. The drive that came in my machine is an Intel unit, and while it's a bit slower than the Samsung PM981 that shipped with the X1 Carbon that I bought and reviewed, it's still plenty fast. There's integrated graphics in the form of an Intel UHD 630 chipset, and that's great for battery life, but sucks for performance. So there's also a 4GB GTX 1050 Ti Max Q setup, and the laptop will dynamically switch between them based on load. Now, to be perfectly clear, this is not a gaming laptop. If you want to get killer frame rates at max quality settings, you need something else. But I think the 1050 is a decent choice for this machine for the typical user, and by going Max Q, Lenovo can keep the thermals under control. And those thermals really are quite good. I ran some long stress tests, and the CPU thermal throttles a little bit at the very beginning when you're getting max turbo boost, but after that the system starts pulling back on power. The i7-8750H in my system is a 45 watt chip, and long term it stayed right around that number. So I saw speeds averaging 3.5 GHz or so. That's pretty good for sustained performance considering this chip has a 2.2 GHz base clock. And at the same time, the CPU temp was reporting around 80 degrees Celsius, which is relatively cool. The dual fan setup was definitely putting in some work. Those fans are audible, but thankfully not terribly loud or annoying. And these numbers are actually different than what people were getting when the Extreme first came out in late 2018. I found a decent number of reports of over-aggressive fans and higher temperatures. But Lenovo released a BIOS update in March 2019 that, according to the release notes, improved thermal function to adjust the fan behavior. I'm running that update, and I think they simply adjusted down the power throttling threshold to make the fans run less. Basically, what all this means is that the cooling system in the Extreme is up to the task, but the machine prefers quiet operation over extracting the maximum possible performance. You can get more speed if you're willing to go down the rabbit hole of tweaking settings in something like XTU or throttle stop, but for those who don't, it's still plenty fast. Now, one of the things you do give up with that performance is battery life, though it of course depends on how you use the machine. It's an 80 watt-hour battery, and for casual usage, I think most people will see about 8 hours. Start to push the machine or get that 1050 involved for a while, and you'll get less. But what you're not giving up is portability. The Extreme is actually pretty lightweight for its size, about 3 3/4 pounds or 1.7 kilograms. It's reasonably thin too at 3/4 of an inch or a little over 18 millimeters. It actually sits a bit higher than that off the table though, because the rear foot elevates the back to help with airflow. While it's a pretty compact machine, it's not the smallest in its class. The screen bezels are thin on the sides, but the bottom is pretty thick, and the camera up top adds a bit too. Though at least it is on the top for a decent view, and the standard model includes a physical privacy shutter, but otherwise it's a typical laptop webcam. And by that, I mean, it sucks. There are two screen options. The default's an anti-glare IPS 1080p panel good for 300 nits of brightness. The other is a 4K multi-touch display with HDR and Dolby Vision, and that one does 400 nits and switches the camera out for one that'll do Windows Hello Face Unlock. With most laptops, I think 1080p screens are fine. Considering the size and how far away you normally sit, everything generally ends up pretty crisp. But the Extreme is a 15.6-inch laptop, so I think there's a case for going with the 4K panel to keep that sharpness. Granted, it comes at the cost of a little extra weight, a little less battery life, and $400 for the upgrade, so it's probably not for everyone. Okay, so the big question is, who's this laptop for? Obviously, it's geared towards business and professional use, but I think it's equally suited for certain enthusiasts. Software devs, content creators, and even just power users will, I think, find a nice balance between power and portability. Hardcore gamers should look elsewhere. There's a whole legion of gaming laptops out there with way more powerful graphics. Like, literally, Lenovo's own gaming laptop lineup is called the Legion series. But the Extreme can hold its own for lighter weight titles, or if you're like stuck in a hotel room on a business trip or something. Of course, a machine like this comes at a cost. Pricing will naturally vary based on config and if there's a promotion going on, but the X1 Extreme is often priced higher than its competitors, specifically machines like Dell's XPS 15. But the Extreme is lighter and I think better built, and for some people that's worth the premium. This is just a really nice feeling laptop to carry around and use. The question you have to answer for yourself is if that's worth the extra money. In my review of Lenovo's X1 Carbon, I found it to be a pretty well-rounded machine. And I think the X1 Extreme really follows in that tradition. It's like they took the Carbon and just scaled it up, both in size and performance. And that's not a bad thing at all. Thanks again to Lenovo for sending this laptop my way, and of course, I'll include a link down in the description. If you liked the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at thisdoesnotcomp, and as always, thanks for watching. So let's see what happens when they make a thin and lap light top that's also fast as... Do it again!